The very first scene in Tears of the Kingdom is one of the most tense and uncomfortable experiences I've ever had in the opening moments of a game. And of course, I think the music is a major reason why.
This strange bloom keeps getting thicker.
Let's descend deep into the layers of the track Beneath Hyrule Castle, and we'll discover 3 elements that, when brought together, make this such an unsettling experience. Also, there's a little thematic Easter egg I'll mention as well. And by the way, if you're wondering about this, the first element is rhythm. The main loop on the surface seems like 4 repeating bars of 3/4, which is pretty regular and not all that tense. But as the theme develops and the melody becomes more prominent, rather than 12 evenly divided beats, it actually starts to feel like 7 plus 5. Odd time signatures are a great way to give a sense of unease and instability. Like back in Breath of the Wild, we had the Hynux theme in 5/4. At fast tempos, odd meters are great for battle themes like these because they make you feel off balance, like you never really have a secure footing. At a slow tempo, like in Beneath Hyrule Castle, the odd meter has a similar unsettling quality, but it's more threatening. 3/4 has a lulling feel, and adding or taking away a full beat upsets that sense of calm that we keep being teased with. It's especially unsettling near the beginning, where there are a lot fewer elements, and so there are a lot of rests and moments where we can't feel the pulse. The rhythm and pulse are actually completely steady. They stay the same the whole way through the track, but the rests make it feel even more like something could jump out from the shadows and grab us at any moment.
You're not hurt, are you, Link?
I remember reading once that if you're giving someone a back rub or a massage, you should always keep at least one hand on them, because the suddenness of not being touched and then being touched is very jarring and not relaxing. And that's exactly how the odd meter and the rests are making us so uncomfortable. Let's go a layer deeper and talk about timbre.
Link, let's keep moving deeper.
Scruffy has an excellent video about musical main characters in Tears of the Kingdom, and it's actually what inspired this one. The most obvious, unusual sounds in this track are the voices, and there's a mix of women, men, and even this sort of alien creature. Not only are wordless voices pretty spooky to begin with, but they have this reverse effect on them, which seems pretty fitting for how important the theme of time is in the game. But obviously voices are supposed to go forwards and not backwards, so it's another one of those things that feels creepy and wrong. I think sometimes beginner composers are shy about using things like this because they're too obvious. Like, oh, of course, backward voices are creepy, that's cliche. But it's like, yeah, maybe it's obvious because it works. The composers wanted you to feel creeped out, and they reached for a sound that would do that. So don't make things harder for yourself than they have to be. If something works, use it. I'm gonna make a video about the importance of timbre soon, and why it just might be the most important aspect of music. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss when that comes out. Also, Scruffy does a great job of discussing these backward voices, so rather than repeat him, I'll put a link to that video down below the like button. The third element that makes this track so creepy is pitch. And it's actually what got me curious about it in the first place. We start with a tonic pedal on B, which is a fancy way of saying that B is the pitch that feels like home, or the tonic, and we stay stuck there on the bottom the whole time. If you're writing an adventure track, or love theme, or basically anything else, holding a tonic pedal the whole time is pretty boring. It feels stuck, like the music is never able to get going. But you can use that to your advantage if feeling stuck is what you want. By never getting going, we build anticipation, and when done well, being stuck and repetitive, rather than feeling boring, can actually feel very tense. we get this feeling of, come on already, do something.
What is that?
It's the melody on top that's the most interesting part though. Let's look at how we hear it at the very end of the track, fully fleshed out, before we go earlier in the track and hear two simplified variations. Over the 4 bars of 3/4, or the 2 bars of 7 and 5, we have a melody of just 9 pitches. The first 5 notes outline an F sharp minor 7 chord, which I find interesting because it's not all that interesting. If we're calling our tonic B, then it's the 5 minor chord, and even over that B pedal, it's pretty tame. When you're trying to establish a feeling of creepiness and be all scary, a pleasant chord like this is a bit surprising. Then on beat 8, it twists, and we get this sneaky step up a half step from F sharp to G, and the rest of the melody arpeggiates a C sharp 7 flat 5 chord. Take a look at this scale, which has a string of half steps from E to F sharp to G. The closest thing I could find to call this is the C sharp 8-tone Spanish scale. Really, I don't think it needs to be called anything. It's weird and creepy, and that's what matters. Remember how that F sharp minor 7 chord was pretty tame? Well, this C sharp 7 flat 5 chord is not tame. It's dissonant. It has the 3rd and 7th of a dominant 7th chord, but with that flat 5, it has a tritone. It's unsettling and creepy and all the things that we want. So I think the genius of the way this is structured is that it oscillates back and forth between a relatively stable chord and an unstable chord. And that's how we're able to just loop these 2 chords over and over for the entire track, but it's still interesting. There's a cycle and balance of release and tension that wouldn't be as effective if the first chord in the pair was also tense. So I mentioned that this is the melody in its final form. Part of how they're able to keep it going for the entire scene is by building up to that version. But they don't actually change anything other than to take notes away. So the first time we hear it, the melody has 2 versions of 6 notes each. And all the notes of those 2 variations are on the exact same pitch and beat as they are in the final form. As Link and Zelda descend farther and farther down, the missing melody notes get added in. So the theme becomes more rich and intense as we get deeper under the castle. Also, at 40 seconds in, we have an outlier instrument with a piano playing 3 notes. And I'll bet many of you will recognize those 3 notes as Zelda's Lullaby. Of course, let's give our recognition to the lead composers on the game for their amazing work. Sorry if I don't get these quite right, but they're listed as Manaka Kataoka, Maasa Miyoshi, Masato Ohashi, and Tsukasa Usui. Let me know if you want me to make more videos about the music from Tears of the Kingdom, and if you like this one, then you won't want to miss my video on cadences, where every example is taken from the score to Breath of the Wild. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.